Make a lot of noise right now for Ariel Elias. Make some noise.
Thank you. My name Ariel. It's a Hebrew name, but I grew up in Kentucky, so everybody thinks that I was named after the Little Mermaid growing up. So every conversation as a child was the exact same. People would meet me and they'd be like, "Oh my God, wait. Your name is Ariel? Like the Little Mermaid?" And then I'd be like, "No, like the Prime Minister of Israel." And then they'd be like, "Hey, why are you like this?" I'm like this because the Little Mermaid taught me that if you don't like your body, just keep talking about it to everybody and you'll probably get a new one. The rest of Disney's no better. I don't know if you guys have seen the new Beauty and the Beast. It's the same as the old one. It's a girl who's in love with her kidnapper. It's just Stockholm Syndrome for kids. That's all it is. And I blame Aladdin for half the homeless kids they've been attracted to. I blame the year I lived in Brooklyn for the other half. Like, is he homeless? Is he a hipster? I don't know. The Little Mermaid it does teach the wrong things, and I think a lot of it's body image that it teaches women. I have body dysmorphia, which is this condition where you're a woman, and that's hard. It's hard living in New York City to feel pretty, right? Because models live here, like real supermodels live in New York City, and they just walk amongst us. Granted, I think they all kind of look like newborn horses, where like their limbs can't quite hold up their torsos yet. But they just look so majestic, you just want to watch them walk. Like, how does it work? And I know I'm body shaming, but let me have this. Like, the other day, I was sitting on the subway, and I was sitting next to a Hasidic man. And Hasidic men, they're not allowed to touch women who they're not related to or who they're not married to, right? And it's usually the same person. But we were sitting there. Don't feel bad for your landlord. It's fine. So we were sitting there, and the train rocked a little bit, so he accidentally knocked me, like he touched me. And I watched him realize, because he recoiled away from me. He got as far away from me as possible. He looked disgusted with himself. He started praying under his breath. That's the sexiest I've ever felt. Oh, I'm gonna violate a man's religion today? And look, I know part of that's on me. Like, I'm always comparing myself to other people, and I think part of that is growing up in Kentucky as a Jew. I know, you've heard it a million times. It's just, and look, there are a lot of misconceptions about Kentucky, like, especially in New York. People ask me a lot, like, was there a lot of anti-Semitism in Kentucky? And the answer is no, because in order to hate Jews, you have to know what one is. So it's this cool thing where everybody there is just like too ignorant to be ignorant. You know what I mean? Like, you ever see somebody so ugly that they're hot? It's like that, but for knowledge. But my friends, like, growing up, they didn't necessarily know what a Jew was, but they knew I wasn't Christian, right? So one day in 6th grade, a bunch of my friends came up to me on a Monday, and they were like, "Hey, listen, like, in Sunday school, we learned that you're going to hell because you're Jewish." And I was like, "You think about me on the weekend?" That was so nice. But that sounds really scary, right? Like, if you're 11 years old and you're already in 6th grade, which feels like hell, and then there's somebody saying that it's going to be that forever, that's really scary. So I asked my friends, like, what do I have to do to not go to hell? And they said, you need to be Christian, you need to be more like Jesus. Ask yourself whenever you're about to do something, what would Jesus do? I was like, he'd be Jewish! And then later on, they all got that lesson that the Jews killed Jesus. That wasn't in Sunday school, that was just like science class. And so I had all these kids come up to me who were like, "You killed Jesus." I'm like, "Yeah, it was me." You figured it out. You nailed it. And so there are two problems with that. 3 if you count that pun. 2 problems with that. 1, the Jews didn't kill Jesus. It wasn't us. That's a myth. It's a very common myth. It's a fun one. Anything where you can blame the Jews is pretty fun. I get it. But it was we didn't have power. It was the Romans. The Romans had power. The Jews have never had power until 1948. And boy, did we run away with that. But Palestine. But otherwise, not us. The second problem is that okay, let's pretend the Jews did kill Jesus. Try to imagine it. I know it's going to be a stretch, but just try to imagine that we live in this world where truth doesn't matter and alternative facts are a thing. And it's hard, I know, but just use your imagination. Just really stretch it. If the Jews killed Jesus, these were Christian kids telling me this. Do you see what I'm saying? If you're a Christian, that means that you believe that Jesus died for your sins. So if I killed Jesus, you're welcome. It's why you have a religion. And by the way, if you're a Christian, I want to be very clear. I'm not criticizing your faith. I think it's a beautiful faith. I'm super jealous that you have any. But put a positive spin on that story already, right? It's been 2,000 years. If you're a pastor and you're still telling that story and you're talking to your congregation, you could be Jesus died for your sins. And the Jews with the assist. I put a sports reference in a Jew joke. Every morning is difficult, reading the news. I think we're all kind of feeling it a little bit. And if you're not, good for you, but we have to live with your decisions. So every morning is difficult, right? And I find myself now, it's when I'm on my period now, I don't want chocolate anymore. I don't know if anybody else is going through this. I just want to watch videos of Obama and Biden being friends. And my mom's biggest fear is Trump having the nuclear codes. That's all she can talk about anymore. She calls me up once a week and she just goes off on it. She's just I'm so scared he has the nuclear codes. What's gonna happen to us with him having the nuclear codes? And look, I think there are a lot of things that we need to be afraid of when it comes to Trump. But him having the nuclear codes is not one of them. Just based on the amount of typos in his tweets. He's not going to type in the nuclear codes. How many chances do you think you get on that before it locks you out? When I first moved to New York, I had a real fun day job. I was teaching cooking classes to children in private schools in Manhattan. It's a real job that I did. But it's, that's a pretty easy job. It's pretty basic. You just go into these private schools and you teach kids how to tell their mates they're doing it wrong. That's most of it. Because they were so rich, like a rich that I had never encountered before. Like you ever meet somebody who's so rich that they enjoy the winter? It's too rich. I do have a few medical issues that make things weird, especially dating, my immune system's not great. Living in New York is a little weird for that. I have I refer to it affectionately as adult acne, and my doctor's always like, hey, that's not cute, it's herpes. It's not as clever as you think that you're just calling it adult acne. Also, you have adult acne. It's not nearly as bad as it sounds. I think there's a stigma about herpes, but it's really not that bad. I feel like it wouldn't sound nearly as bad if it wasn't plural. Right? If I was up here and I was like, I have a herp, you'd be like, oh my god, that's adorable. What a cute sounding disease. My boyfriend doesn't have it. He likes me to say that. But he doesn't. And at first, he was very cool about it, but I guess it kind of dawned on him, he realized the implications, and he goes, wait, does this mean that whenever we have sex, we have to use a condom? And I was like, technically we could not use a condom, and you could just get it. You should just get it. But otherwise, yes, that's what that means. We always have to use a condom. And he goes, oh man, that sucks because having sex without a condom feels so much better. And I was like, yeah, I know. We're having this conversation. I figured that out 3 boyfriends ago. Here we are. I got it from an ex-boyfriend. And I remember one day he called me up and he goes, I think it's so disgusting. That's what he sounds like. I think it's so disgusting. I'm very good at voices. That's like kind of a skill. I think it's so disgusting. All men sound the same. I think it's so disgusting that you're talking about herpes on stage. And I was like, how are you going to tell me it's disgusting when you gave it to me? And he was like, yeah, but I don't talk about it. And I was like, yeah, I know.